Atomic Creamery's Brookie Monster. All right, so I'm gonna give you a little inside scoop on what's to come from Atomic Creamery this summer. I reviewed the Cluck Cluck a few back, which is a very interesting chicken and waffles. That was available, now it's gone, it'll be back in summer too. But this one is going to be available in June. She did a little test batch, sent it out, and I'm going to tell you, you guys are in for a real treat. So Brookie Monster is salted caramel ice cream with ribbons of caramel, and then they add in Brookies, which is their house cookie dough with brownies and a hint of Biscoff. I had one massive chunk right off the bat. You'll see in my picture post of it. You can see right here. Got some very large chunks. But as I do, what, 99% of the time? Let's start with that base. Now, I just spoke recently about Clementine's Creamery's salted caramel ice cream. One of the best I've ever scooped. And while that's true, this one's right there with it. Very much a premium product. Love Atomic Creamery's bases. They know what they're doing. If you're not aware, it's actually I don't know if you can read this. It's a liquid nitrogen ice cream, and they use this Strauss milk, which is a very fine company. But so for being liquid nitrogen, I mean generally liquid nitrogen, they have a tougher battle ahead of them because that's something that really shines in a scoop shop, freshly made, right there to eat. So when you pack it and then have to ship it, sometimes it can suffer. And the cool thing about Atomic Creamery is they never use any preservatives. So you need to eat them fairly quickly, not as long as I let them linger in my freezer. I've learned that lesson the hard way. And I apologize, Atomic. But this base, like I said, it's close to Clementine's. It rivals it. Beautiful, buttery, sweet. It's your typical caramel, caramelized sugary sweetness. The difference here between this one and Clementine's is it's not quite as salty. Yes, it is a salted caramel, and the salt is noticeable. But I could go for a tad more salty. Nonetheless, very, very well done salted caramel base. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, and give you a little, almost had a brain freeze. That doesn't happen often anymore. But my biggest complaint is the caramel ribbon, just because it's lacking. It's somewhat lacking. It's mainly, I'm going to say blended into the base a little bit, but that's probably the biggest pull that I've come across the entire pint. So I could certainly go for more caramel ribbon. Texturally, it's not the thickest of caramels. Gooey, sticky, yes, but I think it could be a little denser, and that's probably due to the fact that it's not as prevalent in this ice cream. I was hoping it would be a little saltier too, even though the description didn't say it was a salted caramel. It just said a caramel ribbon. I was hoping it was salty. It's not that salty at all. The base is saltier. Here though, it's a little sweeter, but also a lot more buttery. So it does stand out in terms of comparing it to the salted caramel base. There needs to be more of it to truly impact the pint. Now, let's talk mix-ins. Hold your horses. Look at this chunk, massive chunk. And here's the deal. We're gonna group, I'm gonna try to knock these out, both of these out at once. So there's our brownie part. Right here. Clean it up a little bit for you. There you go. So basically, you have the massive chunk here of the cookie dough portion. And it's cookie dough, guys. Brown sugary sweet. It's got little, it's got your chocolate in it from your chocolate chips. You can see right there. I like the texture. Chewy, gritty. I'm gonna have a slightly, that bite was really good. Very brown, sugary sweet. Man, that was authentic as could be. Yeah, I'm gonna complain just because that's my job here. It could be a tad more moist or gooey. They're by no means dry and crumbly, but compared to other cookie doughs I've had, they're slightly drier. And I don't want to come as that's what's killing this pint. It's not by any means, but that's one minor critique I have for it. Still super chewy and gritty, which is what you want in a raw cookie dough. Now, when you hit the brownie, it is super, here it is again before I eat it, very soft and gooey. And like it almost melts in your mouth. It's literally like a very, very undercooked brownie. And I'm kind of digging that because the cookie dough is your, chewier, grittier, and even a little crunchy from the chocolate chips, and then you have this super soft and mushy brownie. So those textures contrast very nicely. Flavor, you all know how the flavor of a brownie is, and they nailed it. Extremely rich, extremely sweet brownie batter flavor. It's just like eating the batter before you put it in the oven to bake you a tray of brownies. So you're all asking, what about the Biscoff? I like Biscoff. I do think it's a random addition with the cookie dough and the chocolate. I personally just don't like Biscoff, that whole gingerbread, cookie butter type flavor with chocolate. However, I only came across I'm gonna say a chunk or two where it was noticeable. And even then it didn't have much chocolate paired with it. So it's a nice, I guess it's kind of giving you a different flavor spin to the ice cream. But even then, it was definitely the component of the Brookie that was lacking the most. So in summary, nice touch. Yes, not a game changer for this pint. Despite my few minor complaints, except maybe the caramel ribbon, there definitely needs to be more of that. The salted caramel base could have been saltier, even though it is salty, and the cookie dough could have been a little more moist. And you gotta remember, those two are just, those are very picky critiques. So despite all that, this is a great scoop. I really enjoyed the caramel flavor, and it's chunks galore with your cookie dough and brownie Biscoff mashup of dough. So despite all that, this is a very good scoop, and I highly recommend you picking it up when it drops in June. Brookie Monster gets a 8.5 out of 10.